With the 2024 election just 2 weeks away, I want to teach you 10 words and phrases that Donald Trump always uses so you can better understand him and the news a little bit better. Let's get started. Our first phrase is fake news.
It's called fake news.
Trump uses the phrase fake news to talk about news that he believes is false or unfair to him. Honestly, this has had a pretty negative effect on the media overall, though, because it has caused a lot of mistrust of news stations and journalists who really are telling the truth. So a lot of times nowadays, people cannot even agree on what is true and what is false because every criticism of Trump is just fake news or a lie. Word number 2 is witch hunt.
It's a pure witch hunt. It's a hoax.
The term witch hunt has a historical connection to the Salem witch trials, which happened in the late 1600s. During this time, people were paranoid and nervous about women being witches and practicing witchcraft and sorcery. And because of this fear and anxiety, people started hunting witches or going on witch hunts to try and find and kill the witches. Now, keep in mind, they were not really witches. There was no evidence of them being witches. People were just really paranoid and anxious at that time. But 19 women were killed during this time for being witches, even though they were not. So back to the present, when Donald Trump uses the term a witch hunt, he is making a comparison between those historical events and the investigations against him. So when he says that an investigation or an accusation against him is a witch hunt, he means that his opponents and people who don't like him are just looking for ways to get him in trouble and punish him without any evidence or valid reasons. Just like the women who were accused during the Salem witch trials. Okay, and our next phrase is to drain the swamp.
We have begun to drain the swamp of government corruption.
This is a swamp, and metaphorically it can refer to a messy or a bad place. And to drain means to empty or to clean it up. So when Trump says that we are going to drain the swamp, he means that he wants to remove dishonest and corrupt people from the government in Washington, D.C. And before Trump became president in 2016, he was never a politician. He was famous for being an entertainer and a businessman. And so when he ran in 2016 to become president, he emphasized this idea that he was not a corrupt politician. He was going to enter Washington, D.C. and drain the swamp or get rid of corruption in our government. And before we move on to our next word, I want to remind you, if you have found this video helpful so far, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to my channel so you can keep expanding your English vocabulary with me. Okay, and our next phrase is Make America Great Again, or MAGA, which I am sure you have heard many times.
And we will make America great again.
This is Trump's famous campaign slogan, and it was actually started by President Ronald Reagan, who was a conservative Republican president that many current Republicans love and adore. So when Trump says he wants to make America great again, he obviously means that he wants to make the country better, but he is also implying that our country was better under the leadership of Ronald Reagan. And he wants to bring back Ronald Reagan's conservative policies to make America great like how it was before. And of course, you have seen this phrase on those classic red hats and all of Trump's advertising materials. Okay, and our next word is crooked. A crook is a criminal or a dishonest person, so someone who is crooked means they are lying or cheating. Trump often uses the word crooked to describe people he thinks are dishonest. Specifically Hillary Clinton.
Crooked Hillary Clinton.
In the 2016 election, he always referred to Hillary Clinton as Crooked Hillary. Trump also has other insulting nicknames for his political opponents, like Sleepy Joe for President Joe Biden.
Oh, Sleepy Joe.
And Crazy Kamala for Kamala Harris.
We're going to defeat Crazy Kamala.
Trump always uses these nicknames to make his political opponents sound dishonest or weak. And our next phrase is law and order. Trump talks about law and order to show that he wants strict rules and strong policing. He often says, we need law and order. I'm going to bring back law and order to the U.S.
I am your president of law and order.
Now, law and order can definitely be seen as a good thing. I think everyone wants to lower crime and feel safe. But it's a very controversial topic in the United States because our police have a history of treating people of color very poorly. The most recent famous example is the killing of George Floyd at the hands of Derek Chauvin. Trump has even suggested using the military in addition to the police to bring law and order to the US. And some people think that that is really, really extreme. And so, even though law and order sounds like a really positive thing, it actually has somewhat of a controversial meaning. Okay, and our next word is rigged. If a game or an election is rigged, it means that it was fixed or unfair against you. So oftentimes, if Trump or the Republicans lose an election, Trump will say that the election was rigged or fixed against them, or it was made for them to lose.
There are books that are written on how the election was rigged.
When Trump says that elections or systems are rigged, he thinks they are unfair or fixed against him. For example, to this day in 2024, Trump still says that the 2020 election was rigged, and that's why he lost the election against Joe Biden in 2020. And you can use the word rigged to talk about any competition or game. For example, if you and we are playing a card game, and before the game starts, I take all the best cards, you can say, hey, I lost the game because it was rigged, or you rigged the game so I would lose. So if Kamala Harris wins the election in a couple weeks, I am sure you will hear Donald Trump saying that our election was rigged or fixed against him. Okay, and the next word that Trump loves to use is the term RINO. And this is actually an acronym that stands for Republican in Name Only. Republican in name only. So Trump belongs to the Republican Party, right? But not all Republican politicians support him. Some really disagree with him and dislike him. And of course, Trump does not like these people. So he tries to insult them by calling them a RINO, a Republican in name only. He is basically saying that these people call themselves Republicans, but because they don't agree with me or support me, the leader of the Republican Party, they are not true Republicans.
You know, you hire them, you never met these people, you get a recommendation, they turn out to be RINOs or they turn out to be not so good.
And then lastly is the phrase, drill, baby, drill.
We will drill, baby, drill.
Trump is a big supporter of drilling for oil and fracking, which a lot of climate activists disagree with. But Trump does want to drill for more oil so that we can become energy independent or not have to buy oil from foreign countries. And so part of Trump's platform, or part of his ideas as he is running for president, is that he wants to drill, baby, drill. He wants to drill oil from the ground to help with energy and also lower energy prices. So if you ever hear the phrase drill, baby, drill, you know it's related to the Republicans' platform for drilling for more oil to decrease energy prices. Okay, well there you have it, 10 words and phrases that Trump uses all the time so you can hopefully better understand him as we approach this year's election. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned something new. If you did, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to my channel so you can stay up to date on American politics and improve your English with me. I'll see you next time. Bye.